This broadcast has done extensive reporting on the effects of climate change, and our attention was recently drawn to the Arizona desert.
Restrictions were put in place for Phoenix and Tucson, putting limits on businesses and on visitors. And now Maricopa County is putting new restrictions on outdoor activities. Arizona's deserts are closing, but not because of wildfires or extreme heat warnings. Something much stranger has been found beneath the sands. For days, the usually sun-scorched landscapes of the Sonoran Desert have remained eerily silent. Law enforcement vehicles have blocked access roads. The National Guard has set up cordons, and locals watch from a distance, wondering what lies beneath the ancient earth. What triggered this sweeping and sudden shutdown of multiple Arizona wilderness areas wasn't a flash flood warning or a hazardous materials spill. It was something stranger, something that has authorities scrambling and experts flying in from across the country. A mysterious underground discovery in the heart of the desert, concealed beneath layers of sand and sedimentary rock, has brought one of the most iconic landscapes in the United States to an abrupt halt. The first signs of trouble started quietly. Hikers in the Superstition Mountains reported odd vibrations underfoot, rhythmic tremors that appeared almost too regular to be natural seismic activity. At first, it was assumed to be remnants of old mining operations. Arizona's desert is known for hiding pieces of the past, abandoned shafts, forgotten equipment, lost settlements. But this wasn't a collapsed mine or unstable cavern. When geological survey teams were sent to investigate, they stumbled upon something far more bewildering. Beneath 40 feet of desert floor and covered with millennia of accumulated sand was what appeared to be a massive geometric structure, crystalline and oddly cool to the touch despite the desert heat above. Not man-made in any recognizable fashion, yet engineered with precision that defied explanation. Initial reports described it as a pyramid-like formation, standing taller than a 3-story building and partially embedded in the bedrock. The surface was smooth, translucent, and etched with patterns that didn't correspond to any known Native American petroglyphs or modern symbology. It hummed faintly with a rhythmic resonance that could be felt through the ground, causing survey equipment to malfunction and team members to experience mild vertigo. Instruments brought near the structure gave erratic readings, magnetometers spun wildly, ground-penetrating radar returned impossible data, and even satellite GPS systems began to drift. Whatever this was, it wasn't just unusual, it was unprecedented. Government response. In less than 48 hours, federal agencies were involved. The Department of Homeland Security led the lockdown while the U.S. Army dispatched multiple units to form a perimeter around the site. Black helicopters circled the area by day, while powerful searchlights swept the desert at night, making it clear to onlookers that something extraordinary was underway. Civilian aircraft were rerouted, tourists were evacuated from nearby campgrounds and hotels, residents of small desert communities were ordered to shelter in place. All hiking trails, camping areas, and desert access points within a 75-mile radius were closed without explanation. The term geological hazard was the only sliver of context offered in the brief, curt statement released by officials. Public speculation. Speculation erupted immediately. Online forums lit up with theories ranging from extraterrestrial artifacts to ancient civilizations predating known Native American cultures. Some insisted it was a crashed spacecraft buried by centuries of sandstorms, finally uncovered by recent flash floods and erosion. Others believe it to be the ruins of a lost civilization, perhaps connected to the legends of advanced peoples that permeate Southwestern folklore and Native American oral traditions. Although fantastical, these ideas gained traction because of the sheer scale of the reaction. Never before had the federal government moved with such secrecy and speed to secure an underground desert site. Satellite imagery was scrubbed from public databases. Hiking apps stopped displaying trails near the exclusion zone. Independent researchers and geologists who tried to approach the area were turned back or threatened with arrest. A silence descended, both literal and digital. Even mainstream media outlets were locked out, relying instead on vague updates and footage leaked by anonymous sources. Witness accounts. Small glimpses into the unfolding mystery made their way out. One geologist, part of an early university team before the lockdown, described the object as impossibly smooth with edges that remained perfectly defined despite being buried under tons of desert sediment for what appeared to be centuries. He noted that desert wildlife, typically abundant in the area, refused to approach within 100 yards of the excavation site. Rattlesnakes, coyotes, and even hardy desert birds avoided the area entirely. There was a distinct temperature anomaly within a 10-meter radius of the structure, significantly cooler than the surrounding desert, creating an almost Arctic microclimate. What disturbed him most wasn't the object's shape or the humming resonance. It was the complete absence of any geological stratification around it. The normal layers of sediment, rock, and mineral deposits that should have accumulated over millennia were simply not there. No erosion patterns marked its sides. No mineral deposits had formed on its surface. It was as if time itself had chosen to avoid it. Scientific analysis. Geologists and material scientists brought in under the guise of environmental impact assessments reportedly analyzed core samples and were dumbfounded. The material composing the object was unknown. Not any known crystal formation, mineral composite, or engineered material. Under scanning electron microscopes, the surface displayed quantum level patterns too precise for any natural formation, yet without any tool marks or signs of manufacturing. Spectrographic analysis revealed elements that shouldn't exist in stable form under normal conditions. Whatever this was, it wasn't built with conventional tools or technology. Its presence in Arizona's desert, so close to major population centers and military installations, made its sudden appearance all the more jarring. Environmental effects. As the site became increasingly fortified, the mood across the state shifted. Tourism to desert areas plummeted. Outdoor recreation businesses shuttered, and rumor turned to anxiety. People began reporting strange atmospheric anomalies in nearby towns, unusual aurora-like phenomena appearing in broad daylight, electromagnetic interference disrupting radio and television signals, and even reports of gravity anomalies where objects seemed to fall more slowly than normal. Some residents swore they could feel vibrations through the ground at odd hours, a rhythmic pulsing that couldn't be traced to any source, but seemed to emanate from deep beneath the desert floor. Military escalation. The military presence intensified. Specialized underground exploration vehicles were transported to the site under heavy guard, and deep drilling operations began operating under strict blackout conditions. Whatever was happening beneath the desert wasn't static. A source with knowledge of subterranean operations indicated that the object was changing, slowly expanding or extending deeper into the bedrock. Ground-penetrating sonar suggested the visible structure was only the tip of a much larger complex, possibly stretching over 2 miles in length and hidden entirely beneath the desert floor. If there were no natural explanations for something of that magnitude remaining undiscovered for so long in one of the most geologically surveyed regions of the United States. Theories of origin. Some scientists theorize that recent seismic activity from the San Andreas fault system might have shifted underground formations, revealing the structure. Others speculated that it had always been there, actively camouflaged or cloaked, only now reemerging either intentionally or by accident. The idea that this thing had the ability to hide itself was chilling. It suggested not just advanced technology, but intelligence that had been quietly observing from beneath Arizona's desert for an unknown period. Security measures. Government sources remained tight-lipped. What little information was released was couched in bureaucratic language about geological safety and environmental hazards, but those with experience in intelligence operations recognized the pattern. This was full containment. No leaks, no press, and no chance for public interference. Whatever was under the Arizona desert wasn't just classified, it was paradigm shifting. The kind of find that could alter human understanding of archaeology, geology, even the nature of consciousness itself. Native American perspectives. Tribal leaders from several southwestern nations were quietly consulted. Many spoke of ancient prophecies and oral traditions that described sleeping guardians beneath the desert. Beings or structures that would awaken when the earth itself was in danger. Some elders claimed their ancestors had always known something powerful lay beneath the sands, and that certain areas were considered sacred precisely because they were doorways to deeper realms. The intersection of ancient wisdom and modern discovery created an unsettling resonance that even skeptical scientists couldn't ignore. Underground exploration. Meanwhile, robotic probes sent into the submerged portions of the structure captured disturbing images of internal chambers, perfectly geometric corridors, and what appeared to be pulsating energy cores arranged in complex patterns. One probe reportedly stopped transmitting abruptly after entering a particular chamber. When recovered, its onboard electronics had been completely fried, as if it had been subjected to a massive electromagnetic pulse from within the structure itself. No further autonomous explorations were attempted without military supervision, and all data streams were encrypted and rerouted through secure Pentagon channels. Consciousness interface concerns. The possibility of consciousness-based technology associated with the structure was raised in classified briefings. If the object was a vessel, a beacon, or a device, it might not be dormant. It might be observing, analyzing, or even communicating. The rhythmic humming had changed over time, suddenly intensifying and then stabilizing again. Some patterns were interpreted as signals, possibly a form of non-human communication that operated on frequencies beyond normal human perception. Global implications. The implications were staggering. Strategists began running simulations of what might happen if the object became active in a more overt way. Could it affect tectonic stability, trigger seismic events? Was it transmitting information elsewhere or receiving instructions from sources unknown? The level of uncertainty was unbearable. Decision makers at the highest levels were briefed daily, and the event was reportedly raced during emergency meetings of the United Nations Security Council. For once, the global superpowers shared a mutual concern, and none of them claimed the object as their own creation or responsibility. Life near the desert. Back in Arizona, life near the affected areas became surreal. Blockades expanded outward from the initial site. Entire desert communities were temporarily evacuated under vague justifications. Local radio frequencies were overwhelmed by static and strange harmonic tones. Wildlife behavior became increasingly erratic. Migrating birds changed their routes entirely, avoiding the region by hundreds of miles. Desert predators abandoned their territories. Even hardy desert plants in the area began exhibiting unusual growth patterns, some growing at accelerated rates, others withering despite adequate water. Some vehicles traveling near the exclusion zone reported temporary power failures, their engines dying despite full fuel tanks and healthy batteries. Others experienced compass malfunctions and GPS errors that led them in circles for hours. The waiting structure. Yet the structure did not emerge fully, nor did it sink deeper into the bedrock. It remained a silent presence in the depths, partially hidden, partially revealed, like an ancient eye slowly opening. It raised no immediate danger, but its mere existence was disruptive. To archaeology, it posed questions that challenged everything known about Southwestern prehistory. To security forces, a potential threat too large to ignore. And to the public, a mystery that gripped the imagination and seeded collective unease. Historical context. The implications grew heavier with each day of silence. If this object was extraterrestrial in origin, it changed humanity's place in the universe. If it was ancient and terrestrial, it suggested civilizations far more advanced than previously imagined had existed in North America. Either possibility fractured the fragile consensus upon which society functions, and the authorities knew it. That's why the desert remained closed. That's why surveillance was tighter than ever. That's why only a handful of people on Earth had any real idea what this object was, and why they were working desperately to keep it that way. Deeper revelations. Further analysis revealed that the structure's position was not random. It sat precisely at the intersection of several ancient ley lines, energy meridians that Native American shamans had mapped centuries before European contact. This convergence was mathematically significant, suggesting that object either caused these energy patterns or was deliberately placed to take advantage of them. The material itself responded to stimulus in ways that defied known physics. When exposed to specific frequencies, it would emit light patterns that seemed to follow mathematical sequences. When touched by organic matter, it would generate localized electromagnetic fields that interfered with neural activity. Most disturbing was the discovery that the structure appeared to be scanning its environment continuously. Deep within its core, quantum sensors detected what could only be described as focused attention, as if something within was systematically cataloging every person, every probe, every attempt at contact. Logical effects. Personnel working closest to the site began reporting shared dreams, vivid experiences of vast underground cities, impossible geometries, and voices speaking in languages that felt familiar despite being completely unknown. These dreams intensified the longer individuals remained near the structure. Medical examinations revealed that exposed personnel showed increased neural connectivity, enhanced pattern recognition, and in some cases, temporary telepathic abilities. The structure wasn't just a passive object, it was actively interfacing with human consciousness. The network theory. Most chilling was the emerging theory that this wasn't an isolated discovery. Satellite analysis had identified similar anomalies in other desert regions, the Sahara, the Gobi, Australia's outback. Each showed the same electromagnetic signatures, the same geometric precision, the same ability to influence local environment and consciousness. The Arizona structure might be part of a global network, dormant for millennia but now awakening in response to some unknown trigger. If true, humanity had been living on a planet far more complex and purposeful than anyone had imagined. Aeronational tensions, foreign intelligence agencies had begun taking notice. Despite official denials, satellite imagery suggested that similar excavations were quietly underway in other countries. The discovery had triggered not just scientific curiosity, but a new kind of arms race, one focused on understanding and potentially controlling technologies that seemed to operate on principles beyond current human comprehension. The expanding mystery. As weeks passed, the structure's influence appeared to be growing. The electromagnetic anomalies had expanded outward, affecting increasingly larger areas. Wildlife patterns across the entire southwestern United States were shifting. Even weather systems seemed to be altering their paths around the site. Some researchers theorized that the structure was waking up, gradually returning to full functionality after centuries of dormancy. Others believed it was responding to humanity's presence, adapting and learning from each interaction. Sometimes conclusion. And so the desert winds blow quietly across the corded off expanses of Arizona, while beneath them something waits. Something ancient, intelligent, and patient. The wilderness areas are shut down not because of danger in the conventional sense, but because what lies below calls into question everything thought to be known about human history, consciousness, and our place in the cosmos. There is no resolution yet, only the unknown humming in the depths of the earth, waiting for something or someone to finally understand its purpose. Epilogue. The continuing awakening. Deep beneath the veiled sands of Arizona's desert, hidden from public view and shielded from even the most advanced surveillance systems, the situation continues to evolve, with an intelligence that suggests purpose rather than accident. The structure has begun exhibiting new behaviors, geometric patterns of light that pulse through the crystalline walls, energy emissions that seem to follow the rhythms of human brain waves, and, most unnervingly, responses that appear to be attempts at communication. Through quantum level analysis, researchers have determined that these changes are not random. They follow complex mathematical progressions that suggest the structure is not just active, but learning. It appears to be studying humanity as intensively as humanity is studying it. More significantly, these changes correlate with global events, solar flares, seismic activity, even human population patterns. The object might be interfacing not just with its immediate environment, but with planetary and cosmic systems on a scale that suggests intelligence far beyond current human capabilities. As the mystery deepens and the implications become ever more profound, one thing remains certain. The discovery beneath Arizona's desert has fundamentally altered our understanding of what lies hidden in the depths of our world, and perhaps revealed that Earth itself is far more aware and purposeful than we ever dared imagine. The question is no longer what it is, but what it wants and whether humanity is ready for the answer.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Got thoughts or questions? Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next video.